Chapter 2 Samurai. G'day everyone, Rune here, and this is Chapter 2 of my What If Red Was Ash's Father story. If you're new to this series, click the link in the description below to be taken to the playlist. Now let's begin the next chapter. Ash, please, sit down. You're going to wear a hole in the floor or bite a hole in your thumb at this rate. Marina watches with a worried frown as her friend completes another rotation of pacing, his eyes locked on the floor of the Pokemon Center and his teeth relentlessly chewing on his thumb. She understands that he's worried. She is too, but he's going to hurt himself if he doesn't stop soon. Sitting in the chair next to her, Sol looks up at his trainer, his ears drooping down over his head as he gives a soft yip, seeming to be backing up Marina's statement. Finally, Ash stops in his pacing and his teeth release his thumb. Marina decides to pretend that she doesn't notice the wince that causes for now. Moving as each step towards the chairs is a Herculean effort, Ash walks over to them, before all but collapsing into the chair on Marina's other side. He leans over with his arms resting on his knees, his head down and his shoulders slumped. Marina squeezes his shoulder gently in silent comfort as she tries to think of what to say. However, before she can think of anything, Ash speaks up himself. Vulpix aren't native to Viridian Forest. Confused by the seemingly random topic, Marina asks what he means. Ash turns his head to look at her without lifting it from its bowed position. He repeats that Vulpix aren't naturally found in Viridian Forest. Their natural habitat is the roots surrounding Saffron City. How or why would a Vulpix be in Viridian Forest? And that hurt. Marina bites her lip, not really sure what to say. Before she can think of anything, Nurse Joy comes out of the emergency room, prompting both 10-year-olds to jump to their feet. Rushing over to her, they ask about the Vulpix. Smiling softly at them, she tells them that they'd found Vulpix and brought her to the center just in time. Any longer and she would have been in real danger. As it is, she'll be making a full recovery after just a day's rest. Ash breathes a sigh of relief before asking if he can see Vulpix. Smiling warmly, Joy tells him that he certainly can, before leading the little group into a separate room, where Vulpix is sleeping soundly in a bed. Smiling in relief, Ash walks into the room and takes a seat next to the bed, while Marina takes a seat on the couch next to the door and Sil jumps up onto the bed to sit near Vulpix. Vulpix has been healed. Now all there is to do is wait for her to wake up. She needs to keep running. The monstrous thing is right behind her. If she stops even for a moment, it'll catch her, and she's sure whatever it wants with her isn't good. She skids around a tree and continues her mad dash to escape the tentacle monstrosity behind her, only to see a glowing hole in space, just like the one the monster had come through. She digs her paws into the dirt, trying to slow herself down from the inertia of her run before she can fall into the hole. She has no idea where these things lead, but if it's where that monster is from, it definitely can't be anywhere good. She stops just before her front paws touch the outer edge of the hole and quickly backs up, trying to get away from it only to find the monster right behind her. Trapped between the monster and the hole, there's nothing that she can do except tremble in fear as the monster attacks. She doesn't know how long the monster hits her, but after some time, one of its strikes sends her right through the hole. There's a few long moments of nothing but bright whiteness surrounding her. Then she blinks and suddenly she's surrounded by red flowers, the scent filling her nose. She blinks again, longer this time, and suddenly there's a figure next to her. It's not the monster, it can't be any bigger than her. She wishes that she could see what it is, but her vision has gone all blurry. Her ears feel like they've been stuffed with cotton. She can hear the figure saying something, but she can't make out what. Her eyes close as she hears another voice responding to the first. Then, something is being wrapped around her and a new smell fills her nose. It's a smell that reminds her of home, comforting and soothing. She feels herself being lifted into the arms of someone. She wishes that she could open her eyes and see who her rescuers are, but she's so tired. So very tired. Vulpix slowly opens her eyes as her dream fades away. She's somewhere she doesn't know, and there are unfamiliar smells here. Most of the smells are unnatural, and some are unpleasant to her nose. But there's one scent that she recognizes instantly. Sniffing the air, she follows the scent to its source, which is a black-haired boy currently sleeping on the side of the thing that she's lying on. Beside him is a silver Eevee curled up against the right side of his head, also sleeping. Now that she's more awake, she begins to look around. Now that she's really looking at the place, she's beginning to see some familiar aspects to it. Like the machines lined up on either side of the thing she's currently sitting on, which she now recognizes as a bed. This is a Pokemon Center. She turns back to the boy that is clearly her savior, rubbing against his other side before curling up against him. With her head resting on his left arm, she closes her eyes, content to let herself simply doze as she waits for them to wake, secure in the knowledge that she's safe now. The sudden weight of something on his arm is enough to wake Ash from his slumber. Opening his eyes, he turns his head to see the fuzzy face of Vulpix mere inches from his own. Startled, he flinches back, causing him to topple his chair and sending him to the floor. If the sudden movement hadn't been enough to wake Syl, who's been leaning on him in his sleep, then the crash certainly would have. It even wakes Marina from her spot next to the door. Rubbing the back of his nail-sore head, Ash looks up at the two Pokemon on the bed, both looking down at him in concern. Smiling, he assures them both that he's fine before getting to his feet. Turning to Vulpix, he asks how she's feeling, to which the little fox gives a happy yip. It's at this moment that Nurse Joy returns, having heard Ash falling out of his chair. Seeing Vulpix awake, she begins her check to ensure that she's completely healed. After giving the all clear, she asks if Ash is planning on catching Vulpix, since they can't exactly just release the little fox in an environment that's completely unfamiliar to her. Ash hesitates for a moment, having not thought about that, until he feels a furry head nuzzling his arm. Looking down, he sees Vulpix nuzzle his arm affectionately before looking up at him with big, pleading eyes. Reaching into one of his coat's many pockets, he pulls out an empty Pokeball before holding it out to Vulpix, letting her make the deciding move. With a happy yip, she presses her nose to the button, activating the ball and allowing herself to be caught. Nurse Joy smiles approvingly at him before gently shooing them all out of the room. It doesn't take the group long before they find themselves back in Viridian Forest, making their way towards Pewter City. As they walk, Ash holds the ball of his new Pokemon in his hand as he mumbles to himself. After several minutes of this, Marina asks what he's mumbling about, snapping him back to reality. Turning to his friend, he explains that he's trying to figure out a name for Vulpix. Smiling, Marina suggests that they name her Spider Lily, since he found her in a field of spider lilies. This suggestion makes Ash look really uncomfortable as awkward silence stretches between them. Finally, he gently says that might not be the best idea. Since they found her badly hurt in that field, giving her the name Spider Lily might bring up bad memories. Marina winces, feeling bad for having overlooked something like that. Then, she brightens and suggests giving Vulpix a name that starts with a V. Ash thinks for a moment before he smiles, finally coming up with a name for his new teammate. Vixie. From this point on, her name will be Vixie. Eventually, night falls and the group begins setting up camp. Ash lets out Vixie to help start a fire and realizes that he hasn't met any of Marina's Pokemon yet. Blushing in embarrassment at her oversight, Marina pulls two Pokeballs from her belt and activates them. In a flash of light, out pop a Totodile and a Azurill. She introduces them to Ash and his Pokemon, calling the Totodile Toti and the Azurill Azzy. Ash smiles in excitement at the two Pokemon, having not expected to see two Johto Pokemon in Kanto. He asks Marina if she's from Johto, to which she makes a so-so gesture with her hand as they watch the quartet of Pokemon chase each other around the campsite. She explains to Ash that she was born in Johto and her father is from there, but her mother is a born and raised Cantonian, and she's lived here since she was 2. She got Toti from her dad, before he had to go back to Johto for work a few months ago. She turns back to Ash, asking him if he was born in Pallet. He confirms, telling her that this is actually the first time he's ever been outside of Pallet in his life. Marina looks at him with wide eyes, telling him that she couldn't imagine staying in the one town for so long. She'd go insane! Ash cocks a curious eyebrow at her, asking if that means she's been on a Pokemon journey already. She shakes her head. This is her first Pokemon journey, but she's gone to other places with her parents because of their work, before her mother decided to take up her old job in Cerulean again. Eyes sparkling with wonder and excitement, he asks her what places she's been to and what they were like. They spend the next several hours like that, with Marina talking about the places she's been to and Ash listening intently until they both fall asleep. The next morning, as they're all packing up their little campsite, a boy dressed in a samurai outfit leaps out of the trees, swinging a sword at them. Marina screams in fear while Ash throws his arms up in a desperate attempt to shield himself from the blade. When the feeling of sharp steel slicing his arms never comes, he opens his eyes to see the boy looking at him with a look of complete confusion, his sword still pointed at Ash. A confused look still on his face, the boy asks why he's covering his head like that. Ash stares at the boy incredulously while Marina explodes. Oh, gee! You think it might have something to do with you swinging an actual sword at him? Ash watches in silent shock as Marina continues to snap at the shorter boy about attacking them out of the blue and then acting like it's no big deal. He is beginning to wonder if this is the reason his father didn't want him going on a Pokemon journey. This kid is crazy! But then he dismisses it. This is the first crazy person he's met so far, and he's in Viridian Forest. He's sure that this is just a one-off. Right? He's brought back to the present by a hand on his shoulder. Looking to his side, he sees Marina looking at him with worry, asking if he's okay. He scratches the back of his head, assuring Marina that he was just startled. He picks himself up off the ground, dusting himself off as he asks the boy what he wants. The boy introduces himself as Samurai and tells them that he's looking for trainers from Pallet Town. Raising an eyebrow at that, Ash asks why, to which Samurai says that he has questions for them. And your idea of getting those answers is to attack them with a sword. Samurai frowns at that, saying that Ash makes it sound bad when he says it like that, earning him flat looks from the two. Ash then sighs, saying that if Samurai wanted to ask him questions, he could have just approached him like a normal person, not given him a heart attack, making him think that he was about to slice his arms off. Samurai stares at Ash, asking if that means he's from Pallet Town. Ash rolls his eyes, somehow not surprised that that's what he chose to focus on, instead of Ash's advice about not attacking people as a greeting. He confirms, and suddenly his space is being invaded by the other boy, who's shaking him while demanding something that Ash can't understand, due to the boy talking so fast and the dizziness from being shaken. Marina pulls Ash out of Samurai's hold while glaring at the other boy. Ash shoots her a grateful smile, feeling a little dizzy. He turns back to Samurai, asking him to repeat his question, slower this time so that he can actually understand what he's saying. Squaring his shoulders, Samurai demands to know whether Ash knows about the champion Red and his child. With Ash being from the same town that the hero settled down in, he must know something. Ash's eyes widen slightly in panic before he shifts his eyes to look around at the trees surrounding them, rather than the boy demanding information that Ash would rather not share or his first new friend. Awkwardly, he tells Samurai that just because he and Red live in the same town doesn't mean he knows anything about the champion or his family. The man is very private, only making public appearances whenever he has to, and his wife and child never accompany him. There was even a rumor that his wife and child didn't exist until the Oak family shut that down. So if he's looking for information about them, he's not going to be getting anything out of random trainers. Samurai sighs in disappointment, lamenting that his search continues. Marina gives the short boy a look, asking why he wants information in the first place. Samurai looks at them like the answer should be obvious. He tells them that the child of Red should be about their age, meaning that he'll be starting his own Pokemon journey soon, and he'll need to pass through Viridian as it's the only path to Pewter City from Pallet Town. The son of such a renowned champion is sure to be a prodigy. Ash's eye twitches at that comment before he tells Samurai not to get his hopes up. Because he heard a rumor before he left that Red was planning on keeping his child in Pallet Town for another 2 or 3 years before letting him go on a Pokemon journey. At the horrified look on Samurai's face, Ash has to struggle to keep himself from breaking out in a grin. He walks past the boy with Marina hot on his heels. As he does so, he tells Samurai to enjoy his 2-year minimum wait, his tone completely serious. Once they're far enough away from the boy that he won't hear them, Marina asks if what he said was true. To which, Ash explains that it was a half-truth. It was something that Red had been planning, but his wife had shut that down hard. Red's kid left Pallet Town a few days ago. Marina asks why he told Samurai that rumor then, and Ash shrugs, saying that the guy had pissed him off. Maybe this will teach him not to make assumptions. And that, everyone, is where I'm going to be leaving the story for now. Join me next time as Ash and Marina arrive in Pewter City, and Ash discovers that entering the gym challenge isn't going to be as simple as he thought. I'm Rune. See you next chapter.